Good afternoon. You're watching Businessworld Live. I'm Jes Delos Santos. Let's take a look at how the local bourse closed today, Tuesday. Okay, the index snapping out of its 5-day winning streak today. It's down 8% to 6,885, practically erasing much of the gains made over that 5-day period. Adding to the sell-off is the massive dumping of local stocks by offshore investors. Net sales today is at 1.9 billion pesos, the most net foreign selling that we've had since July 1st. Now, of course, you have those stocks here still projecting that the PSEi is bound to end higher at least this year. That's at 7,150 to 7,680 by year end, but still that's lower than their initial estimate of 7,750. This over lingering effects of the pandemic, especially the Delta variant. They are still optimistic, however, that the economy would recover, in turn providing an upside for the market. But then again, it's still dependent on vaccination pace in the country and as well as further reopening of the economy, but not much optimism on local stocks today. Let's start off with the Aboitiz Equity Ventures and Aboitiz Power, both stocks being the worst performers today, correcting after gains were made yesterday. Um, that's, of course, over some developments here. 25% of Aboitiz Power is set to be sold for $1.58 billion dollars to Japanese utility firm JERA. JERA said its investment will increase Aboitiz Power's exposure in a market where power demand is projected to grow at a yearly rate of 4.2%. Other than that, Aboitiz Equity Venture had been cut to hold at SB Equities with price target set at 54 pesos and 60 centavos, while Aboitiz Power had also been downgraded to underweight over at JP Morgan with target price set at 25 pesos a piece. Aboitiz Equity Ventures is a day's worst performer, as you can see in the chart right here, represented by the white line. Aboitiz Equity Ventures is down 10 and 6 tenths of 8% to 47 pesos and 50 centavos a piece. Now, Aboitiz Power, represented by the orange line, is tracking that loss as it plunged 9.7% to 30 pesos and 90 centavos a piece. But see, other energy players are mirroring those losses here. You have a number of them also joining our negative territory here. You have the likes of AC Energy down by as much as 3 and 3 tenths of 8%. First Gen also in the red, ending the day down by 2 and 7 tenths of 8%. Now priced in at 32 pesos and 10 centavos a piece. Now outside the main index, some big developments here for Leisure and Resorts World Corporation. Its subsidiary Total Game Zone Extreme Incorporated got PAGCOR approval for its official sports betting system called GSports. So it boasts of itself as a top-rated sports book, which allows players to wager on a variety of betting markets via retail or online live betting. It's going to at least feature live betting across the world 24/7 for any sports. That development came out after it closed, but at least for today, Leisure and Resorts is down by 4 and 1 tenths of 8%, now at 1 peso and 65 centavos a piece. Let's see how this bit of news is going to affect the stock's performance on Wednesday's trade. Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. President Duterte has given the green light for the vaccination of the general public starting next month. Palace spokesman Harry Roque said Duterte gave the approval based on the advice of vaccine czar Carlito Galvez. But the palace clarifies that the A1 to A5 sectors will still be prioritized. Roque also confirmed that vaccination of minors will likewise start in October, so parents are encouraged to register their children for inoculation. As of yesterday, some 44.3 million doses COVID-19 dose vaccine have been administered in the country. 20.5 million Filipinos have so far been fully vaccinated. The World Bank has slashed its growth forecast for the Philippines for 2021 to 4.3% from an initial projection of 5.5%. This as the multilateral lender expects vaccine supply constraints to continue hampering the country's immunization program. The World Bank expects the Philippines to fully vaccinate its population by the first half of next year. The lender also said that more Filipinos would remain trapped in poverty by 2023 if the government would not mix policies addressing inequality in its pandemic exit strategy. And Interior Undersecretary Pimaco Densing believes Metro Manila will not yet see a downgrade to Alert Level 3 next month. On One News's agenda, Densing says that although the alert level system will continue in NCR, the status is unlikely to de-escalate to Alert Level 3 by October. But the official notes that the government is eyeing to increase indoor dining capacity from the current 10% to 20 to 30% for fully vaccinated individuals. They are also proposing the reopening of gyms with 30% capacity. Ginseng also noted that other local governments outside Metro Manila have expressed openness to implement the alert level system. After close to 2 weeks of implementation, how has the alert level system impacted the private sector? And is it high time to de escalate further in Metro Manila? Let's find out from the chairman of the Philippine Exporters Confederation and representative at the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, Sir George Barcelon. Good afternoon, Sir George.
Yes, good afternoon, Jes.
Okay, first things first, 2 weeks into the alert level system, how has that impacted the private sector, especially for you guys over at the export industry?
Well, if you look at the new system, no, the GCQ alert level system, it is the level 4 is practically pretty close to ECQ. Okay, although having said that, the essentials and the export sectors were not really too much affected. But the other issues such as mobility, of course, it's affected, and we would look forward to more relaxation in opening up the economy.
Okay, so do I take it to mean, sir, that you are at least in agreement that restrictions, especially in Metro Manila, should be eased further to alert level 3?
That's right. Um, there has been talk about lowering down the alert level, and which we agree. But at the same time, we support the granularity approach of the government. And lately, as you mentioned earlier, President Duterte has authorized the vaccine czar, Secretary Charlie Galvez, no, to start vaccinating the other sectors of our society. Because in the earlier stage, we were just giving priority to the elderly and to the A4. But we need to vaccinate more, provided the vaccines are available. Just to share some thoughts that I was able to get from Singapore's approach towards in dealing with the COVID-19. They have realized that the vaccination, although continuing, would not mitigate really the spread. As a matter of fact, they have experienced increased infection lately. So they're now talking about really getting the citizens to be involved in testing themselves so that the hospital care, healthcare would not be overwhelmed. We know very well that 95% of those uh, checked and found out to be positive are either asymptomatic or mild symptoms. And this is where I think the government should take action to allow the private sector, especially the marginalized. The government should provide free saliva or antigen tests, wherein an adult can test the old and young in their family, and those who are cleared in coordination with their LGU must be allowed to travel. Because one of the issue now we have is the mobility, the transportation, the public transportation is still quite a grayish area, and people cannot if you cannot commute, you cannot work. And you're talking about a good, at least a good 40% of our working population cannot commute. So that's my take on this, on how we can, in a way, gradually open up. But we still follow the science. But if the testing by the community would help, that would gradually give us confidence in opening up. Thank you.
Okay, more to that point, sir, you were at least making calls for self-testing to be made available even for the private sector, but that also would open up questions on regulation.
The well, lately, what I've heard, the saliva test and the rapid antigen test has improved on the reliability. Okay,
Mhm.
as you notice every day, we get a report from DOH showing us the numbers of people infected, and then again, the numbers ranges between 94 to 96% are mild and asymptomatic. Well, we know very well that there's really some severe case in the 2% to 3%. But if you reason it out, we're holding hostage the whole economy because of this fear. Okay, we do respect the virility of the viciousness of COVID-19. We respect that, but on
Mhm.
the other side, I think everybody can put their effort. As I said, it's about time that we trust our kapong Filipino because they need businessmen and they themselves. We need this is all part. We're in the same space, the livelihood of everybody. So I'm sure that given the test, they would be responsible. It's an honor system. I know it's an honor system, but I think local government would be able to monitor them for their own good and for the good of our economy, to allow or not to allow those people who might infect others. But for those who are, you know, from their ocular inspections that they are just asymptomatic or mild, I think they should be given the chance to be productive.
Okay, now moving over to different topics, Sir George. Should NCR should at least restrictions in NCR be eased to alert level 3? Do you have projections at least on the possible economic gain from doing so, from doing that?
Um, Again, I think all of this that's on the table requires collaboration. Okay, we are very in touch with with our different chapters with the local government. We know that giving them proper information is just as important than for them to clamp down using a broad brushstroke, which really doesn't help anybody. But if you reach out to them really and giving them the support and the test, then they would realize that they do have a role to play, and it's for their own good. So I think the NCR, having the latest data I got, was we're about 70% inoculated. That's a very good figure. But if you were to limit only those inoculated to be part of the community, to be productive, we might fall short. So we need something in tandem to go along. Vaccination, that's one. The self-testing is another. It's another approach. These two has to go in tandem.
Okay. Now, lastly, sir, comments, of course, on the latest amendments on the retail trade liberalization law. Paid-up capital has been lowered. Any thoughts on that, sir?
Well, just of course, we would like to encourage people to invest in our country. Okay, but talking about the retail sector, I think they're vulnerable. If you lower down the investment amount too low, okay, the small and the medium size definitely would be affected. When we look at the retail sector, we'll have to take cognizant that time has changed. It's not the brick and mortar. Retail sector, you're talking about e-commerce, okay? And many of our small and the micro, they are not at that scale yet. Okay, even if it's a brick and mortar. I'm also in the IT business. The big firms have equipment, have technology to scope walk-in customers, their buying habits. all of these are captured. When they are going through the aisle, touching certain items. They are monitored. Well, the small ones, they can't afford it. So my concern is that sometimes people think that, oh, retail, maliit lang yan, tindahan lang yan. It's going far beyond that. And we have to really protect some of the smaller ones. I am for their investing, but I would like if they could put in some conditionalities. Like if they were to invest 25 million paid up, uh, or 50 million, they should take in a local partner. There should be technology transfer.
Mm-hmm. Or,
They have a lot of advantage as far as sourcing. Lamang sila because they have the sourcing from abroad, and also transfer costing could play to their advantage. Okay, so this is what I'm saying, that yes, we do encourage them, but we should also look at what are they coming in for. Okay, I would think technology is one. If you
mm-hmm.
go to many of these advanced nations, when you're walking around, you're actually being monitored. You know, I have seen equipment. Actually, we carry some equipment that monitor people walking in, going through the aisle, touching something, and leaving, putting it back. And you can case them by more or less age,
Mm-hmm.
their gender, and their interest. It's very similar to what the e-platform, the likes of Amazon, is doing, except here you still have that brick and mortar.
Okay.
And this is where I think our small companies, may not be up to it yet. That's my comment. I'm all for inviting foreign companies to come in, but at the same time, there must be transfer of technology, and the local partner, the local businessmen, they should allow some local businessmen to be
Mhm.
part of the companies. That's my
All right,
comment.
so open up more to foreign investors, but at the same time, still provide conditions and safeguards for small local businesses. Thank you very much for your time
That's
this
right. Thank you,
afternoon.
Jess.
George Barcelon, Chairman of the Philippine Exporters Confederation and Private Sector Representative to LET.
Thank you.
And those are the biggest stories this trading day, September 28, 2021. Catch Business World Live again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jes Delos Santos and VR1 News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.